This is Mountain Vision. Welcome to the Wildcats Football Coaches Show, your home for all things Split River football, with Wildcats head coach Josh Dare and your host David Carden.
Let's go!
Welcome to the Flint River Academy Coaches Show with head coach Josh Dare. I'm your host David Carden. The Wildcats just finished up their season with a 47-20 loss in the second round of the playoffs in Warrenton versus Briarwood Buccaneers. Coach, not the way you want to end your season?
No, it's you never want to end the season. You want to win the championship every year. But when you look back at the grand scheme of things, we were proud of the kids. And if you look at our team, we are a second-round playoff team. It stinks that we had the bye in the first round, so we didn't get to have that playoff victory.
You didn't get to prove that you were a second-round team.
Right, but the team that we would have played, we beat as bad as we wanted to last year. So I'm pretty confident we would have won that game, gone to the second round. And, we had two seniors, not a real old team. Making it to the second round and getting beat out there, that's about where we were. The Final Four teams are really good teams. And we saw that Friday night. They beat us 48-20 and 47-20. They're better than we are. We lost to a team better than us, so that's not the end of the world. You never want to lose. You never want to end a season to a team that you feel like you're better than. That's when it really hurts. But, I was proud of the kids. They played hard. They fought all year, did a great job, did everything we asked, and just came up a little short against a team that I feel was better than us.
That opening possession for Briarwood, they got the ball and marched down the field. The first time y'all played them, they were hitting 10 and 12-yard gains on the ground, but y'all were kind of slowing them down a little bit, and able to give up 5 or 6. That give y'all a little hope after there?
Yeah, we were not excited, but we were definitely like, well, that was much better, like you said, than the first time we played them. But they're tough. Normally when you put 8 in the box, you expect to stop the run. We had 9 and 10 in the box and couldn't hardly slow them down. That just shows how good they are at what they do. Their running back, he's a big physical running back. He's hard to tackle. You have to get 2 hands around him to bring him down. They have a big line. And, they were just man blocking everything and making us reach to grab them. And, nobody has stopped them all year. The only game that we've seen on film that they lost was to Piedmont. And Piedmont didn't stop them. They just got onside kicks and kept the ball away from them. You know what I'm saying? So, it was one of those things where we felt like we had a good game plan. We put as many in the box as we could. We were blitzing corners off the edge most of the night, and we just couldn't stop him. He's a heck of a running back. They're a heck of a team. They got a great coaching staff, and they do what they do very well. So it was, like I said, we want to win. You want to win the title every year, but when you get knocked out by a team that's probably better than you, it's a little easier to swallow.
Yeah, they looked really, really good Friday night. Y'all had some momentum, right, when y'all took y'all's opening possession down the field, had it inside the 5, and a chance to answer their touchdown.
Yeah, we knew going into the game we were going to have to score with them. You can't let that team get 2-3 scores up on you, because it's like we said, it's hard to stop them. And we knew if we go in and we score there, we knew going into it we're going to onside the majority of the night. The first time we didn't, just because when we brought everybody together, they were prepared for it. And there was a big gap in the middle, so we kicked it, and we wanted to see what our defense could do against them. But then we knew after that we were going to onside it. And to not score there was really deflating to the team, because we put a drive together. We marched down the field, a couple 3rd and longs that we converted, and 4th and 1 from the 2. All we got to do is get a yard. We get a first down. And we run option, and the end comes running at Parker. And he pitches it out to Brett with nobody around him, and he just drops it, kicks it into the end zone, and they recover it. So it's just, one of those nights. We put the ball on the ground twice. They recovered both of them. They put the ball on the ground 4 times. And we didn't get any of them. So, when you're playing a team like that, you have to play perfect and get some bounces to go your way. Well, we didn't play perfect, and we didn't get bounces to go our way, so it was a long night.
Yeah, y'all looked really good on that opening drive on offense, and then it just kind of went away. Y'all kind of lost the momentum or the rhythm there on offense.
Well, so when we opened up, they came in and they opened up with a 6-man box. They were in a 4-2, and we were in trips because we had been scouting them, and we knew when we got in trips, they were going to put 4 guys on our 3 and then keep 6 in the box, and that's why we were able to run the ball. Well, when we came out of that possession, the next possession, they went to a 4-3. They put 7 in the box and went man-to-man everywhere across the board and then put help over the top, depending on where Brett or James, where they were at. If James and Brett were by themselves, it was man-to-man with help over the top. And then if they were in the trips, they had an extra man to the trips. So it was a good little scheme that they had. They took us out of our game plan because when they go 7-man in the box, we couldn't run it on them. We only had 5 guys blocking. If you run one guy, then it's 6-on-5. So, and their linebackers fly around. So that's what they did to stop the run. And then it was tough for us to pass. It was a wet night. The balls were slippery. If you know, we had Chase behind the secondary one time. Yep. James went to throw it and it slipped. We had James behind the secondary. Parker went to throw it. It slipped out. So with a wet night and hard to really grip the ball and throw it, when they stacked the box, it really made it tough for us.
The Reese brothers, y'all did a good job, like we talked about a little bit so far, stopping them up the middle, but they hit a couple of big toss sweeps around the edge.
They're just, we saw it on film all week, and it's so scary because they don't need much to get 4 yards. If you give them just a slight little crease, they figure out a way to get through it, and they hit that hole so hard that they're falling forward for 4 or 5 yards. And they did that all night. There were times where we made our wall, we made it perfect, and they got 5 yards. So it was just, like I said, they have a great scheme. They're really good at what they do. And our kids fought hard and tried the best they could to slow them down, but they're just a tough team to stop.
Yeah, Dakota, like you said, hits that line really hard. And it looked like Dylan, the younger brother, it seemed like he was at full speed every time he was hitting that line.
They're 90 miles an hour. They're not afraid of contact. And they have a lot of confidence in their line. Their line goes to the right guy. And they were moving us, too. When there were gaps in the wall because big old 77 and 76 would get up underneath us and just take us wherever they wanted to. So, big team with a good running back. I like them to win it all, to be honest with you. They got Memorial Day next week, but the way that they run the football and the way that they clog the middle defensively, they've got a great chance to win it.
You were talking, y'all were blitzing that corner off the edge. Yep. It seemed like moving through the game, they tried to start hitting some little quick passes out to the receiver on that side. How'd y'all counter that?
Well, what happened was the safety wasn't rotating over to the twins. Because it's one of those things where all we talk about all week is stopping them. And basically, we told them if they want to throw it, let them throw it. So, but we did talk about when they go twins, the safety's got to rotate over and just act like there's a guy there, but we're not really worried about them. So I think they threw it 3 times. So it wasn't really anything that we were really concerned about. We'd rather them throw it out there. Chance of dropping it, chance of anything can happen. They're not handing the ball to the Reese brothers. So that wasn't really anything that really concerned us too much. Later on in the game, we talked to the safeties, and they did start rotating over to the top of the inside receiver, and they quit doing it. So.
Chase Lewis, who did a lot of the blitzing from the corner spot, made some really good tackles in open space Friday night.
Yeah, Chase is a guy that he has just gotten better every game, and we're excited to have him back for another year. And just from a corner, but we were very happy with both of our corners the way they tackled all year. Chase and Parker, they both come in. They come in low and they come in hard and take your legs out. And they were a bright spot for us all year.
You were talking about the field conditions. They looked pretty sloppy out there.
It was awful. It was awful. We had to get a new ball every play because of how wet it was. It was bad. The coaches, our shoes and socks were soaked, and it hadn't rained in 3 or 4 days, so it was just saturated. And there was you couldn't cut. We couldn't run jet. We didn't even try. I think we tried to run jet one time, but if you hand the ball off, once you put your foot in the ground to cut up field, that's not happening. So we ran some jet read, and we ran some jet counter stuff. But even on the reads, we told them, keep it. There's no reason to hand the jet and then try to cut it around the corner. It just wasn't happening. So the field conditions definitely played a little bit of a part in the outcome. Yeah,
those white uniforms were kind of gray and brown by the end of the night.
They were ugly. They were definitely ugly by the end of the night. So, and it affected our throwing game. It really did. Like we said, we had 2 guys behind the secondary for touchdowns. If Chase and James catch a deep pass, you're not catching them.
Right.
They're just 2 guys that accelerate, and we weren't able. the one Chase was behind, all we needed was a 40-yard throw from James. James can throw it 50 yards, 50, 52, 53 yards. And then when James was behind him, all we needed was a 40-yard throw from Parker. And just they went to throw it, and the ball just fell right out of their hands. Or, you're talking about 2 scores there in the opening possession where we have the pitch walk in. That's 3 scores right there that, that's definitely changes the game a little bit.
It changes it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned those jet counters. Y'all had some success with those. Found some running room.
We did early when they had a 6-man box because we knew when we were jet, the linebackers were going to shift, and we had them. The kids knew exactly who to go to, and we had it for the quarterback and we had it for the running back, and those worked well. But then they went to that 7-man box, and it was the backside kept coming in and making the play. So
we'll be right back with more of head coach Josh Deere right after this.
Murray Company Realtors in Griffin are proud to offer you this wonderful country home. This spacious 5,200 square foot home features 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, an eat-in country kitchen, plus an in-law suite. Located on 55 plus acres, this property includes hardwoods and pines, pasture, garden area, and potential 5-acre pond site. Call now to let Mark Hawkins at Murray Company Realtors show you this wonderful country home and property.
I'm Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue, and I'm here to tell you about the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience. The versatility of the Big Green Egg is unmatched. It delivers big results as a grill, a smoker, and even an outdoor oven. When the doctor cooks, I demand the best, and that's why I cook on the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience.
Visit Taylor Foster Hardware in Manchester and start enjoying the ultimate cooking experience on the Big Green Egg. Taylor Foster Hardware, Main Street in Manchester.
Welcome back to the Flint River Academy Coaches Show with head coach Josh Deere. Coach, I know we mentioned a little bit not the season you wanted, but maybe except for that Westfield game here for AAA back-to-back state champs.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all had a chance in most every game this year.
Yeah, we did. And as I was telling the kids after, they got dealt a very unlucky hand. The schedule this year was extremely tough. So if you look at Briarwood, they're in the Final Four. If you look at Westfield, they're in the Final Four for AAA. So 2 teams on the schedule are in the Final Four. Then you look at Southwest Georgia, you look at Piedmont. Those are 2 teams that are in the Elite 8. Then you look at Gatewood in AAA. They're in the Elite 8 in AAA. And then Westwood, Heritage, and Trinity in AAA are all playoff teams. So all of our losses are from playoff teams in AAA or AA, and then the majority of them are from teams that went to the second round.
Right.
So it's not like it's just teams that found a way to get in. These are teams that won the first round, went to the second round, and then we also had losses to teams that are going to be in the Final Four. So not a very, very tough schedule for these kids. And we were banged up, and we talked earlier on if we could get through it healthy, we got a chance. But we weren't able to. Not having Cullen and Jacob out there, that was a big deal. And then just it's just a tough schedule. And these guys fought and battled, and they did well all year for us. Even in the Westfield game, where they blew us out, we still had some success doing some of the things that we do. We were still able to, have a span there where we scored 3 touchdowns on them on back-to-back possessions. So, these kids they really fought hard. So I was proud of them.
Yeah, y'all really had a tough year with injuries all season long. Different players here and there dealing with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Just little. But in a lot of times, in football, it's whoever stays healthy has a great chance to win. You look at Briarwood. They lost one of their better players early on in the year too. So as good as they are, they're down one of their studs too. So I could only imagine what they would be like if they were healthy. So
Yeah. I thought you mentioned it already. Y'all are only losing 2 seniors, Cullen Evans and Greg Chambers.
Yeah.
How much are you going to miss those guys next year?
Oh, we're going to miss those 2 guys a ton. Greg's a big guy that we can. He did a great job for us at tight end. We didn't run a lot of tight end Friday night, but over the year he got so much better at blocking for us and blocking the edge, and then he got a better understanding at the defensive line, how to hold your ground and everything. So he was a guy. This was his first year playing, but he progressed so much from the beginning to the end to where we would love to have him for a couple more years so he could really understand the game and all of his positions. So we'll definitely miss him. And then Cullen, man, we're going to miss him. He's not really a guy you can replace. He was such a threat to the defense every play. and it hurt us when he was gone. I mean, you're talking about a guy 6, 7 touchdowns on the year, all receiving.
Yeah.
You know, being able to just catch it, throw bombs, and he'll go get it. That was one thing quarterbacks, when they threw to him, they threw it as far as they could because they couldn't overthrow him. You know, and that's easy. It sounds weird, but that's the guy you want to throw to. You throw it as far as you can, and he goes and gets it. You know, so he was tremendous for us this year offensively. Played safety for us. You know, got us in the right coverage. You know, and just he was a tremendous leader for us all year, and we'll definitely miss both those guys.
I guess Chase Lewis will kind of take that Cullen Evans spot on offense, right?
Yep.
What about on defense, losing him at safety? Who's going to step up there?
You know, we've got some young skill guys, and you know, Chase, Parker, James, you know, Quinlan, they all come back. So you know, we'll be able to build our secondary. We're not 100. I couldn't tell you right now who it would be, but we'll look at it and evaluate it, and just put the best game plan together that we can for our secondary. So,
how much time do you give yourself after the end of the season before you start thinking about next season?
Well, I started basketball practice yesterday, so you know, I'm from football straight into basketball, and then I get the spring off. So once basketball's over with, then I'll start thinking about football again.
So no film study of what happened this year. No getting out there working with any of the kids doing anything.
Well, you know, here's I don't want to do that because I don't want to take the kids away from the sports they're involved in. So you look at the majority of our kids go from football into basketball right into baseball. So one thing that I'm big on is you focus on what sport is in season, you know, and commitment is huge, you know. So I think I would I wouldn't be doing justice to the kids and to the sports if I was pulling them away from basketball and baseball to work on football, when one of the major things that I preach to them is you got to commit. So, you know, I want them to make sure they're committed into the sport that they're playing in whatever season it is in. And then, you know, some of the guys that don't play baseball, sure, we can start working with them in the spring. But for the guys that do and they play multiple sports, we want to make sure that they're done with their sports before we start worrying about another one.
So you're talking all the way next summer before y'all even get back to football-related activities.
And you know, and that's how a lot of the private schools are, is because you can't have spring practice anymore. But with the kids stretched so thin, you don't want to pull them from the sports that they're committed to.
I know you hadn't thought about it, but you think we'll see any changes from the read options and the jet sweeps that y'all ran this year?
No, we really like all that stuff, and with how athletic our guys are out wide and in the backfield, they really got the hang of it. And I think even coming next year, it will be even that much better. And you know, we got a really athletic line. We don't have a huge line, but we have an athletic line. And you know, being able to pull and get out in front, that's things we got to do. I mean, we're not going to be able to sit there and man block and just take people and move them back 5 yards and take off. So we're going to continue with the read option, the shotgun stuff. We would like to be able to put in the eye, but like I said, if you're going to put in the eye, you got to get a push. So if we can get a little bit of a push, then we can definitely go and put the eye in for next year, because you got James and Brett in the backfield. They're a perfect eye duo, but you got to have the line to run it. You know, if you can't get a push and your line's constantly coming backwards, it's tough to run the eye. So you know, it's one of those things where we only lose 2 guys, but at the end of the day, we were also 3-8. So if we don't get in the weight room and if we don't start doing things to improve, like that's the stuff that we can do now to get ready for next year, is go ahead and start lifting hard and getting bulkier and getting stronger. If we don't improve, we're not bringing back an undefeated team. We're still bringing back a 3-8 team. So we have to go improve, or the outcomes for next year may be the similar. You know, the schedule won't be as tough, but at the same time, you can't just look at the roster and predict the next year. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of teams in college that go 1-10 but bring back everybody. Well, that doesn't mean just because they bring back everybody that they're going to have some kind of spectacular year. You got to go improve. You got to go get stronger in the offseason. That's the key. If we can go get stronger, then we can have a successful season next year. But if we don't go get stronger and improve and get faster and little things like that, we have no idea what's going to happen next year. But I do know if we go get stronger and do little things like that, that we will have a successful year next year.
You mentioned the schedule next year. Mm-hmm. Now, are you going to set up that schedule, or is the GISA?
Well, the GISA will do the schedule. And the reason that we had such a tough schedule is because so many teams in the GISA wouldn't play other teams because they were scared to lose. So then you take some of the teams like us that we didn't have our schedule filled because we weren't supposed to. You know, they sent out an email that said, come to the scheduling meeting with a blank schedule and we'll fill it there. Well, we get there and the majority of the people already have their schedules full. There's like 4 or 5 teams sitting there without a schedule, and then we just start playing each other, and then you throw your region schedule into there, and that's how we kind of got the schedule that we had. So they will definitely do the scheduling now because they want to make sure that the travel is fair for everybody and the competition is fair for everybody.
Okay. So will y'all still go all the way to Warrenton to play Briarwood next season?
You know, I talked to their coach, and he said that he wants to keep doing that. They did say the GISA wants one long road trip a year because you got to have one. So I think we'll continue to play Briarwood, and we'll continue to play Southwest Georgia, which is Damascus. But we'll just make sure that we're playing them home and away.
So maybe not as many AAA teams or Westfield on the schedule next year?
Yeah, hope not. Yeah, no, Westfield won't be on our schedule next year for sure. But, you know, you look at Heritage and you look at Trinity, we got to play them just because it just makes sense. They're 25, 30 minutes from us.
Right.
You know, you look at Heritage over the past 2 years, we're 1-1. You look at Trinity over the past 2 years, we're 1-1. So, you know, they are AAA schools, but they're also not Westfield. You know, they have potential to be powerhouses, but they're not there yet. So, you know, playing them is still competitive. And we play them so early on that you still have so many mistakes, it's kind of hard to blow a ton of teams out at that stage in the season. So.
Well, you mentioned Trinity, Heritage, and then, of course, Bethlehem Temple and Piedmont, maybe against Briarwood and Southwest Georgia again. So that's still, 4 open slots on the schedule?
Yeah, you know, we're going to probably look to play Windsor out of Macon. They're a AA school. And just, you know, because you got to look at travel, and then you also got to look at competition. So just because they're the closest doesn't mean it's the best idea, you know. So there's a couple teams in Athens that we would try to play. Loganville Christian. There's Bethlehem Christian, which is in Bethlehem, Georgia. So that would be another good team for us to play. So yeah, we've got some teams that we're going to propose to the GISA to play, and then they'll make the schedule and do what's best for the leagues.
We'll be right back with more of head coach Josh Dare right after this.
I'm Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue, and I'm here to tell you about the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience. The versatility of the Big Green Egg is unmatched. It delivers big results as a grill, a smoker, and even an outdoor oven. When the doctor cooks, I demand the best, and that's why I cook on the Big Green Egg, the ultimate cooking experience.
Visit Taylor Foster Hardware in Manchester and start enjoying the ultimate cooking experience on the Big Green Egg. Taylor Foster Hardware, Main Street in Manchester.
Murray Company Realtors in Griffin are proud to offer you this wonderful country home. This spacious 5,200 square foot home features 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, an eat-in country kitchen, plus an in-law suite. Located on 55 plus acres, this property includes hardwoods and pines, pasture, garden area, and potential 5-acre pond site. Call now to let Mark Hawkins at Murray Company Realtors show you this wonderful country home and property.
Welcome back to the Flint River Academy Coaches Show with head coach Josh Dare. Coach will mention only 2 seniors leaving, so that basically everybody back on offense. You'll lose your deep threat in Cullen Evans, tight end and Greg Chambers, but that line's coming back. Your top 2 running backs are back, which for the most part they're at receiver a lot too. So they know that offense. You can really build off that, can't you?
Right, absolutely. You know, next year is going to be great because everybody's going to know where to go. You know, there were a lot of times early on this year where the teams were changing their defenses and we didn't know what to do. Well, next year we'll have that experience to where if they change their defense, it's something that they've already seen, so they'll be able to change and who they're blocking and the blocking scheme on the go. We won't have to waste timeouts. We won't have to adjust at halftime. It's going to be something where they say, all right, we're all supposed to go this way. That's my guy. That's your guy. And that's something that we're really going to be able to improve on. You know, so, you know, we talked earlier about we got to get stronger, but there's also a lot of benefit to everybody coming back, knowing Parker's going to know who to read every play. You know, the line's going to know who to block and who to leave open for Parker to read every play. In the passing game, everybody's going to know the routes for every combination that we have. And, you know, Parker's going to know exactly who to read in every route. And, you know, we put some audibles in. That's something that we'll be able to progress with next year. And, you know, it's really exciting knowing that we're going to be able to take the offense and just hopefully let it grow, and at the same time keeping it simple so we're not confusing the kids. So we're excited about that. Game 1 next year, every one of our linemen should know exactly where to go, you know. And we had a lot of first-year players. We had a lot of guys playing new positions. So it's just they're going to be that much better at their position next year. So that's really exciting.
We talked a little bit about what the offense might look like and its ability to grow and get better.
Right.
What about on the defensive side of the ball? You see some growth and potential on that side?
Yeah, I do, because we were able to put in a couple defenses this year. So that means at the start of next year, we're going to have a couple different ways that we can line up, which is always tough for an offensive coordinator. You watch film, and if you got to watch if you got to prepare every week for 3 or 4 different defenses, that makes it really tough for the offensive line. And that's something that we're going to be able to do next year. We'll have the 3-4, we'll have our 4-2-5 in, and we'll also be able to just kind of take it and run with it and put in more blitz packages and put in more coverage schemes, and just something that is going, like we talked about with the offense, same thing with the defense. Day one, they're going to know how to line up. If there's trips, if there's twins, if it's empty, what double tights, it doesn't matter what alignment that they're going to give us. Everyone's already seen it. So now we'll be able to get better at each position next year, because we won't have to worry as much about making sure we're aligned correctly, because they've already seen it. They should know where to go.
Well, that's good. You mentioned you thought Briarwood might be able to take it and win the state championship.
Yeah.
Do you really feel like that?
Man, they've got Memorial Day, and Memorial's won it for the past 4 years, I think. And you've got Memorial Day versus Briarwood, and then you've got Robert Toombs versus Windsor. Windsor upset Piedmont this week. They beat Piedmont 66-32. Piedmont just played I think as bad of a game as they've played all year, and Windsor was able to get by. So the Windsor-Robert Toombs game is really interesting, because Windsor beat Robert Toombs by 1 point 2 weeks ago. So now they got to play again in Final Four, which changes everything, and Windsor seems to be clicking right now. So that should be a really fun game to tune into. And then you got Briarwood versus Memorial Day, and if Briarwood just does what they do so well, that you sit there and you watch them on film, and it's almost like you're not worried about them until you see see them in person. So their running back and their offensive line and their defense and the way that their linebackers fly around, I really like their team. I mean, I think that they have the perfect recipe to beat a Memorial Day, who is big and fast and can fly and run all over the field. But with all that speed, when they're just running straight ahead at you, it neutralizes it. What's speed doing when they're just running right at your defense? If they were sitting back and lobbing it this way and lobbing it this way and running toss a lot, yeah, your speed comes into play. But they neutralize the defensive speed just by running right at you. So that's something that they're going to be able to do or they're going to try to do, and I think they can do to Memorial Day. But at the end of the day, Memorial Day, they're 4-time champs, and you can never count them out. They've got athletes all over the field that can just take it to the house on one missed tackle. So it's the Final Four is 2 exciting games, 4 exciting teams. So I've talked to people around the league. They really think it's going to be a Briarwood-Windsor championship game. And earlier, Briarwood beat them by 4 touchdowns. So if that's the case, I really like Briarwood's chances. I'm pulling for Briarwood. They're a team that 4 years ago they had an undefeated middle school. Well, now all of those kids are now at the varsity level. So they've kind of waited their turn. This is the best team I think that they've ever had. And that's the teams that you pull for. They didn't go out and recruit kids and buy a team. They went out, they built a team from middle school program, and now they're at the varsity program. And you wish them the most success as possible, because they're doing things the right way.
They've worked for it. They've earned it.
Exactly.
If it is a Briarwood-Windsor final, since those 2 teams might be on the schedule next year, will y'all try to go down as a coaching staff and watch it?
Yeah, it'd be a fun game to go watch. They play at Mercer, so it's in Macon, so it's not too bad of a drive. All of the games for the Final Four, we're not going to any of those, because one's in Warrenton and one's in Toombs County,
right.
So that's a 3-hour ride to either one of those. So, but yeah, if it's we'll probably make the trip to Mercer and just watch those 2 teams. That'd be a fun game. Or really, whoever it is, it's going to be a fun game, and it's exciting for the league.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you joining us this year and coming in and every week and doing this with us.
Well, we appreciate the exposure and y'all coming and doing the radio show and doing this for us. It helps the school out, and we love it, so we thank y'all as well. So,
well, Coach, I appreciate it, and good luck with the basketball this offseason. Thank y'all for joining us. We'll also like to thank Taylor Foster Hardware and Murray Realtors out of Griffin for being our sponsors this year for the Coaches Show. And again, a special thanks to head coach Josh Deere. Thank y'all for joining us.
Thank you for watching the Wildcats Football Coaches Show. Join Coach Dare and David Carden next week as they continue to review and preview all the Wildcats football games right here on Mountain Vision.
Let's go!
This is Mountain Vision.